Welcome back, everybody. If you can believe it, it's already playoff time in the state of Massachusetts for high school football. It's certainly cold enough for it. I got my playoff beard going. We are ready to go. And let's jump right in, Molly. Let's jump right in with a Thanksgiving preview. Central and Lawrence, they're setting up their Thanksgiving rivalry, but first they're going to match up in the playoffs. Central 5-0 since they only lost to St. John's Prep. Lawrence is 1-4 in their last 5-0 since their loss to St. John's Prep. Lawrence is 1-4 in their last 5, including the heartbreaker in North Andover. Certainly Central's the prohibitive favorite.
Yeah, it would be awfully tough to imagine a scenario where Central doesn't take this one.
Central's playing good ball. They seem destined for another matchup with the Prep. Moving on, Andover and Methuen go into Andover this time. Earlier in the regular season, Andover went into for the first game at New Nicholson Stadium, and they won 33-15. EJ 4 threw 5 touchdown passes. This is another one. Unless Andover trips up, Andover's going to win this one.
Yeah, I know. Wasn't it 5 TD passes on the first 5 possessions?
Yes.
So, unless Methuen, unless they're really fired up because they were a little embarrassed, or maybe Andover is a little overconfident. Those are some scenarios, but if you go by past history, you'd have to take Andover.
They would need an absolutely huge game for Kendrick Denoz to get this one. Could happen. They played him tough for a while, but Andover's going to win this. Closing out the playoff games for Friday night, North Andover going to Westford Academy. This is a really tough one for North Andover.
Yeah, this might, if we could pick a local upset that would be neat to happen, it'd be this one. Westford with 6'5", Connor Dagenhart, one of the top QBs in the state, a real stud, just a junior. Coached by Adam Gagney, the former Salem High coach. Obviously didn't have much luck at Salem, but the ex-Haverhill High grade has turned it around at Westford. Looks like Westford would be the team in this one.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. All right, well, speaking of Salem, we're going to go into New Hampshire now. New Hampshire's in the last game of the regular season. We are going to start off with Salem. Salem's got revenge on their mind because they're going to Londonderry. We all remember what happened a year ago. They block a Londonderry field goal. The refs rule that Londonderry has another shot at it. They kick it. They make it. Londonderry makes the playoffs. Salem is out in one of the most controversial games in a long, long time. Well, it's different this year because Salem's a lot better. Londonderry is not quite as good. This is a good-looking one for the Blue Devils. They've already clinched their playoff spot.
Yeah, we went to practice to interview Charles Sabanda for the Thursday Eagle Tribune football show, which is online. This guy does a great job at that, so check it out. Charles was fired up big time. The guys seemed fired up big time. Last year, still smart, so the danger would be them not thinking they have much to play for where they're in the playoffs, but they feel they have something to play for, so I'm going with the Blue Devils.
Yeah, I definitely didn't get the feel when we were practice. I did not get the feel of a team that was overconfident. Definitely go with the Blue Devils in this one. Pinkerton, fascinating story, something we never talk about. Pinkerton really needs to win this game. There is a scenario they could lose and still make the playoffs, but they've got to go and they've got to beat a one-loss Exeter team to make the playoffs. And I've seen Exeter. Exeter is a good team. This is by no means, Pinkerton wins and they're in definite.
Yeah, Pinkerton's one of those teams. They're like Central Catholic basketball. You just say every time, yeah, they're going to win because they win every single time. It's a little bit of a rebuilding year with TJ Urbanik going down. I can't see them losing this one. Could they? Yeah, they most certainly could. But a little Pinkerton pride, Pinkerton tradition, Pinkerton history maybe pulls them through.
I agree. I was going to pick Exeter going in, but I just have a feeling I think Pinkerton's going to win this one, get in. What happens in the playoffs, that could be another story, but I think Pinkerton wins this one. And we have Timberlane. Timberlane has not fully clinched their playoff spot, officially clinched their playoff spot. It's looking good for them, but if they beat a tough 5-3 Merrimack team, they're definitely in. They've had some big wins. I'm feeling Timberlane right now.
Me too. In a very tight one. Merrimack's coming off a stunner, and Timberlane's won 4 straight. I just like the way Timberlane is playing. I love the post kid. Man, that kid is a ball player. Love Hughes' moxie. So go with the Owls.
I think I underrated Hughes at the beginning of the season. And Tyler Fury is playing very well in his own right. Mm-hmm. And they have a very good line. Not last, but Wyndham, coming off their first loss in, 19 games. They're going to Monadnock. They've got to be absolutely furious. Wyndham goes in and blows them out in this one.
Yeah, Wyndham with the bounce back win.
And Pelham going to Souhegan. Got to go Souhegan in this one.
Yeah, although I would say keep your eyes out on Ryan Demers. He's having an all-star caliber year. I think he's the #1 receiver statistically in the area, so he always gives you a puncher's chance, Ryan Demers, but it'd be tough for Pelham to pull it off.
Not related to Cody Demers, the former Central receiver. I asked. Now we go into Saturday, starting back up with the Mass playoff games. Haverhill is facing a really tough one. They're going to Newton South. They beat Newton South a year ago in the playoffs, but it's flipped. Haverhill is the favorite. They've got to deal with Austin Burton. Austin Burton is the leader of the state in both passing yards at 2,050, leading only EJ4, and 24 touchdown passes. This is going to be a tough battle for the Hillies.
Yeah, and you got to figure Newton South will be fired up. Haverhill embarrassed them last year, 42-12.
Yeah.
Newton South has the record. It seems like there's a couple chinks in the armor. Obviously, I think it's if you stop Burton or slow him down, you have a good shot. We'll see what if the Haverhill defensive coaches have a good game plan. I wouldn't rule it out. Obviously, being upset, I'm going with Newton South, but they're certainly beatable. So 6-1 or whatever they are, it's not like they're unbeatable 6-1. They're most certainly beatable.
I was at that game last year with Newton South, and they did shut down Austin Burton. He was only a sophomore at the time, but was still putting up monster numbers, and he wasn't a factor in that game. So it's possible, but I'm going to pick Newton South. Pentucket, they're still undefeated. They're 7-0. Bedford's coming into town for their playoff game. Pentucket's rolling. They've got Liam Sheehy. They've got Travis Bouncy, who just become a superstar out of nowhere. They've got a tough line. Finn Graham is emerging as a quarterback. I think Pentucket probably takes it to a 4-3 Bedford squad.
It looks that way. Sometimes you wonder in the Cape Ann League, the knock is always, are they playing the competition? I wonder, should Pentucket get knocked off? Are they going to look back? We had a soft non-league schedule that maybe didn't get us record for tougher playoff competition. So maybe that's something to keep an eye on. Bedford, I think, is well coached. Jack Belcher, a former NFL draft pick out of BC, class of '83, I think, at BC, usually has a pretty good club. I'll still go with the Sachems.
Pentucket beat them on the way to the North final 2 years ago. And although I will say that I think the toughest competition they have coming up, assuming they win this game, is Cape Ann League teams in North Reading and Linfield down the line. Speaking of North Reading is hosting Ipswich. The Hornets' only loss is to Pentucket. Ipswich is 4-3. I say Matt McCarthy and co. Set up a rematch date with the Sachems.
Yeah, North Reading beat them 27-14 in the season opener. Greater Lawrence up there in the playoffs as well?
Yes.
Okay, is that a Friday night game?
No, they're Saturday game.
It was changed?
Yep.
Okay.
Nope, yes. And in fact, that is the next on my list. Greater Lawrence is traveling to St. Mary's for a 2 o'clock Saturday game. It's a matchup of 5-2 squads. Greater Lawrence has been a little unpredictable this season.
To say the least.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel kind of good about them right now.
St. Mary's top target is named Calvin Johnson. Never bet against Calvin Johnson as a top target, so I'm going to go with St. Mary's and Megatron.
Damn it, I was going to make a Megatron joke. I was going to say I have a mega big worry about that. Okay, yeah. So, and then rounding up the non-playoff, Georgetown at Northeast.
I think Northeast takes it.
Austin Prep at Whittier. I'm going to go with Austin.
I agree with you.
Sanborn at John Stark. Going to go John Stark.
Yeah, they've won 3 straight, and they should make it 4.
Brooks going to Governors. Governors a little down, but they're still really good.
Yeah, they get it rolling. They're a juggernaut. Check out the kid, Zach Coffey from West Newbury. I tell you, that Pentucket district, because they got a lot of kids at Central Catholic kicking butt and taking names. They get some Governors kids kicking butt and taking names. I think the kid Ryan Day is from Hampstead. Both might be fifth-year seniors, Zach Coffey and Ryan Day, but they get some terrific talent from our neck of the woods. Love the Coffey kid. I think it'd be a little bit too much to stop. But Brooks is playing some great football.
Yeah, no question. And finally, we round up the weekend. Phillips at Deerfield Academy.
Yeah, Deerfield's coming off a 21-13 loss to Exeter. I think in recent years, Phillips has been a little bit better than their arch-rival Exeter. So based on that, I'll go with the big blue.
I'm with you. Okay, so we got playoff games. We got regular season games in New Hampshire that are basically playoff games. It's an exciting weekend. Let's see what happens.